Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Good to be together again. Today's another day of painting portraits in watercolor here on my live stream. Thanks for being here. I took a day off yesterday and did not paint, and it's just I am working full time these days, so I'm trying to do these early in the morning before work, and sometimes it just can't quite fit it all in. So thanks for your understanding. But it's good to be here today. We're going to paint this picture here. Took this picture of this young gal, red hair, beautiful red hair, light complexion, really a lot of purpley blue in her skin tone on the left hand side. So that'll be kind of interesting because that purpley blue will really contrast nicely with the orange hair. Got this kind of, well, I have, you'll see when you look at how I sketched it out. I did, even though this is a horizontal format, I cropped it as a vertical format. And so there's really not much background in my painting. However, it would be kind of cool to do that really soft, blurry background there in the background as well. That there's a nice unity of color in this in this picture between the oranges and the blue and mauve. But I'm thinking about painting the entire painting, like doing just water, putting a bunch of water down on the paper first, and then painting wet on wet, a really diffused first wash that just hints at the different colors and undertones, and then let it dry, and then come back and do more over that. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I've not done that yet. If you've been watching my other live streams on this topic, I've always been just starting right out with wet on dry, and therefore getting more hard edges and all. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking about doing today. Excuse me, let me take a drink of coffee. Sorry about that. It is early here, kind of, and so I'm, just waking up. Okay, and I taped this down, and let me switch over to my painting view here. So here is the painting, or the drawing on the paper, taped onto my board, and you can see that there. I don't know how well. I don't tend to sketch really dark. So it's very much vertical format. I cropped off even a little bit of her hair here. And so again, I'm working on a fairly small format. This is only 6 by 9. So in order to get in and get some of the detail that I want to get in the eyes and the facial features, I kind of need it to be, I need to really fill the paper up with the subject matter and not have it be too small. But I don't really want to work a lot larger than that, being that it just takes a lot longer the larger the painting. So for me, anyways. So I'm gonna start my timer, and I've got my large Delgado quill squirrel hair brush filled with a lot of clean water, and there you go. I need to grab. My sorry, excuse me for the I forgot one thing here. Oh, there it is. I need to grab, I'm going to switch back to my live view and just show you this. Sorry for a little interruption here, but while you're getting your reference image ready, let me show you how I show I have a tablet, and I didn't have it set up. So I was starting to paint and I realized, oh, I don't have my reference image all set up, ready to go. I like to use, as opposed to printing off my reference image, I like to put it on a nice, bright, full color tablet. This is just a Samsung tablet, or if you have an iPad or something like that. And I create collections in here, which you can do quite easily. It's your own private collections of images that you like to or want are interested in painting, and that way you always have kind of a nice. And so here you go. You can see I can bring in a nice full color, beautiful reference image of this young gal and then just place it here alongside my painting. And I think that the color and the range of tone and contrast that you can get, let me get the glare off of it here, that you can get using an image like this off of a tablet on a screen is so much better than you could if you printed it on paper. Again, drawing and painting from live, if you had a live model or something, would be even better ultimately. But you know, we don't always have that. And so this is my second best way of getting a good reference for painting and using the tablet like that. So I encourage you to do that as well. All right, now we can get started. Like I was saying before I realized my mistake, I've got my large squirrel hair quill brush here. Let me show it to you here. This is a Dugato 6. I have a review of these on my YouTube channel. You could find that, and they're very affordable. They tend to lose hair a little bit more, but you know, they're not bad. But they're quite a bit cheaper than you could find other squirrel hair brushes, and so I felt like, you know, they were a good value. All right. So before I do that, though, before I put down all this water, I want to mix up the a few of the colors I want to go with here. I think what I want to do is, oh man, I need a pretty light blue. I think I'm going to use cerulean this time, as opposed, I've been using ultramarine or French ultramarine a lot in almost all my paintings in this series for my blue, but I think I'm going to use this more greenish, coolish blue. It's beautiful for skies, and there is a lot of sky behind her, and that sky color seems to be reflecting in her left cheek, left side of her neck, all of that. And so I see that, and so I want to mix up a bunch of that. So again, when you're doing these large washes where you want to do the whole wash at once and kind of cover the paper, you want to have a good amount of mixture ready to go so that you don't run out in the middle of that, because it's somewhat time sensitive operation. Then I'm going to take this is my Hansa yellow light there. There's definitely yellow, but I think that and maybe this new gamboge. I'm trying to figure out what to use for her hair. There's that, or you know, maybe even better is nickel quinacridone gold is a gorgeous color. It's got a little bit more of this yellow and gold built in. I think I might do that up on her hair. And those two colors go nicely together, the cerulean and nickel quinacridone gold. That's a Daniel Smith color, gorgeous, one of my faves, in the yellow space, kind of a earth tone yellow. Look at that, gorgeous. I think I might do that. And then just for her more skin areas, I see big block areas I'm concerned about are kind of the bluish areas, which I'll use cerulean, the orangey areas like her hair, which I'll use nickel quinacridone, and then some of her more skin tone areas. I think maybe I'll just again mix up like I have been doing. I'm going to use some of this pyrrole red. So, you know, there you go, without even trying. What do I have? I have primaries. I have a nice primary triad here. I've got my blue, my yellow, not so much green, but my blue, my red, and my yellow, my primaries. So if I need green, I can mix it, you know. So you really, if you can find a nice triad of primary colors to use in your paintings, then yeah, that's great. And that's give you a nice foundation for your painting. All right. Sorry, got an itch on my nose. It is starting the what we call season of allergies here. So I sneeze a lot. Here, ready to go. I'm going to start my timer. I stopped it earlier, and now I'm restarting it. And big quill brush and something happening here that's bothering me I want to fix here too before I go too much further. Just a second. Okay, there we go. This kept lifting here and it was bothering me. I want that to lay flat, and I'm having all kinds of problems this morning. Anyways, now can we actually get started? Third time they say is the charm, so maybe that's what this is, the third time here. So lots of water, and here we go. I'm gonna just, so what I'm gonna do, what I see as far as light, retaining lights, there's not, I mean, well, I've kind of got, I'm just going to put water on everything. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm putting water everywhere. I'm not really worrying about retaining dry white paper anywhere. Now, when I put down some of these real light colors, then I can come and lift a little bit and create a very light tinted version of some of these light colors, the orange and the maybe skin tone in some areas, and it'll, once I get done and put in some dark colors next to it, it will look white. Might not be completely white, and that's quite a bit of water. If you look at this now at kind of an angle, you can see there's a real sheen on it, right? And you always want to be aware of how much water is on your paper, and that's quite a bit of water. So now, and so when I put some pigments down here, they are really going to spread. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is start with my lightest ones here, and that's okay. Don't freak out. Let the pigments can move beyond the edge of the lines. You don't have to worry about drawing inside the lines, as they say. In this regard, just put down some pigments. Okay, I'm seeing really light skin tone here, maybe avoiding the eye because it's a little more white, and here all the way down into here, and super light here, and more red on this side underneath her hair, and here maybe a bit more red here, and this can go more on her ears, more red there, and like that. Okay, and now I'm going to take, having done that, I'm going to take this cerulean blue chromium or chromium, I think. Oh, I've got a little bit of an angle to my board, very slight angle, not very steep, but still, because it's so wet, it's running. So I've got definitely wanting to get the blue in, this background behind her, along the side here, in the upper left corner, upper right corner, and and definitely in here. Okay, so you can see how wet it is. Now this is, again, this is a different technique than I've been using. And then I need to take this blue also and bring it over her shirt area, only because I don't really have any other color right now for this shirt. So isn't that interesting? That's just really super loose, right? Now, while I have this, I think I might say, well, are there any areas where this blue might really... No, I kind of like it. I'm not going to mess with it too much. I'm going to kind of... Well, I want to add this orange in a second. So I'm going to actually come in here and right along the edge of the hair, right there, my brush, I'm getting it nice and clean, getting the water off on my paper towel so it's not, there's not too much water on it. So it's fairly thirsty brush, dry brush, and now I'm just coming in and lifting some of this blue that came into the hair area. Like that, just because I'm about to put orange down and I want to avoid green hair. Okay, and so we'll see how this works. Okay, a lot of this is experimenting. I was sitting here thinking about it all yesterday. How do I want to approach this gal with the beautiful hair and all? So now I'm going to take my nickel quinacridone gold, and this is still quite wet. In fact, I'm kind of procrastinating a little bit because I want to give it a chance to dry a little bit, soak in a little bit. So I'll dab up some of my water here, and like that. And again, you're always looking at your I don't know if you can see this very much, how there you go. Now you can see how wet that is. It's still quite wet, and it actually hasn't dried much at all since I put the water on. So when I put this orange down, it's really gonna go, okay. The one thing you can do is make sure your brush has mostly pigment on it and not a lot of water, because just water plus water is just more water, and that can cause a problem. So I'm gonna picked up another brush here. Actually, I don't like that one's not big enough for me for my purposes here. I really want something bigger because this is a big area, putting down all this hair. Okay, and again, I'm not in a big hurry here because I kind of want this to. So the brush is not too wet. There's a lot of pigment on it, but there's still already a lot of water on the paper, so I don't need too much on the brush. And there you go. Now, see, this is a gorgeous color. And just watch how I'm not putting it right up to the edge of the lines because it's going to do its thing here. Flowing out into. And there you go. There we go. Now that's going to be a nice undertone of a golden shimmer underneath. Now there's obviously the hair gets a lot darker, almost to a dark brown. I'll put and more of an orange over it, but this is my first wash. Okay, it's wet on wet. I wetted the paper very thoroughly ahead of time, and I just chose my 3 primaries, basically a pyro reddish with a little yellow in it, kind of a skin tone, very light in here. Then I did the blue chromium, cerulean blue chromium, and then now this nickel quinacridone gold, and it's very wet paper and it's just flowing, and I'm letting it do. You have to let watercolor paint for you sometimes. Now I've got a smaller brush and I'm thinking, those lips and maybe some other areas that are kind of pink, I could come back and just add some color in there while this is still wet. And so I'm going to do that here. And again, it's really, I'm going to start kind of in the center of this, because this is, it's not spreading as much as I thought it would actually. Okay, so maybe it's drying here a bit. Now, as soon as I put a little bit more water on my brush, then it started spreading. Okay, well, there you go. Just a little bit there. And drying the brush off and lifting some of that where I don't want it. So the lower lip there, it's pretty light, and the tone is darker on the left hand side, and here, and this side here. There we go. I'm going to see what that does. I'm just going to leave that and see what that does. Okay, it's pretty bold there, but we'll just let it go. All right, now I'm going to mix up my cerulean blue. You know, I'm going to just say she has blue eyes. She doesn't really, but again, I said this the other day in my lesson. I was talking, take out your artistic license, okay? You have a license to be artistic here, and so it's going to drop a little of this blue in there, and give her blue eyes, and just it'll dry and be kind of an undertone. And then I'll come back and paint darker over that in a little bit, but it'll be pretty. Um, and I see maybe this could be a little bit on her eyebrows here. Whoop, whoop. That was a little too much, so that's okay. When you make a quote unquote mistake or something, you think, so just come back with a dry brush and just pick up, lift, lift. But also don't do that too much. Just don't freak out by, where there's maybe appears to be too much color or something. Sorry, got adjusting my headphone. Okay, I love it. I think I'm going to go ahead and let this dry. Let's just take a little closer look at it here. Got interesting, not, I don't know, backwashes maybe, but they're beautiful. So those aren't always bad, where you get the water kind of flowing back into a color. They create really beautiful patterns in watercolor, and I like the nice mixture along the edge, where the skin and the hair come together. It's just a real beautiful blending of those colors. And I like it. I like what it's doing. I think I'm going to go ahead and get my hairdryer out and dry this just a tad with my hairdryer, just to speed things up a bit. If I weren't doing a live stream, I would just let it dry naturally. But here we go. All right, that took a little bit longer than normal to dry, just because it was pretty wet. Now it's not. Yeah, it's pretty wet. It's pretty dry now, so that's good. Um, Alrighty, here we go. As I was drying it, I was thinking a bit about what I wanted to do. I want that orange. The hair was almost like a burnt sienna color, and I was thinking, oh, I could grab burnt sienna. But instead, I think I'm going to do, to keep my palette simple, is I'm going to use the same colors I've already been using. I'm going to take some of that red, mix it in with this uh, nickel quinacridone gold, which these two coming together should pretty much give me a burnt sienna kind of color if I get them mixed right here. And that's going to be a lovely orange color, which hopefully you can see there in the palette, um, and um, and get me what I'm looking for in terms of a really dark tone there. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to kind of start at the top, and I'm just going to kind of come in here and add this. It's just laying it down, especially in the areas that are really dark, which right in here and here, and especially down in here. Okay, and then I think I'm going to grab some more water on my brush and just kind of blend these out and get rid of some of these hard edges, keeping some hard edges and obliterating others. And something like that. Come back in and get some more. It's quite dark on the top here. but then it comes into these strands and does this. Again, it's quite dark. In fact, it's really dark all the way up to her chin there, because it's her hairline goes in here and here and here and like that. And again, I need to mix up some more because I'm running out a little bit. Now coming here, and this is pretty much doing this. It's even more red. I have a darker red on this side, just because I think it's darker. Avoiding her ear there. Go around her ear down to here and here and like that. Okay, and then a little bit of water on the brush and smooth this out. Okay, something like that. Now, I like it. I like that. I'm going to come in and darken some of these areas even more. I think I might just like leave that like that. Again, impressionistic. I'm wanting to trying to decide what to do here to get that real dark area on the left hand behind. Should I use that brown, or would it be better to just come in with my, see, I'm afraid to do that chromium right there with to get the blue mixed with that. See, I'm going to get a real muddy color, which you can see right there. I don't like that. That's green, and I don't want that. So I'm going to take that off my palette. But if I took this, I just recently purchased this, a burnt umber. That's a dark color. Yeah. Yeah. It's not really what I'm looking for. I'm going to kind of leave that for now and just let that be. But what I want to do here is grab a clean brush, come back, get some of my skin tone colors, which was my pyrrole red with a little bit of yellow in it. And, whoops, too much pyrrole red. That pyrrole red is just like crazy how much pigment. It just goes a long ways, is what I'm trying to say. And too much sometimes. But what I want to do is get some of the shape on the face here with these colors. And so I'm going to come in here. I see this side of the face here, up to the eyebrow here. And here and underneath this eye, over this eye here, alongside this side of the nose. Over there's a bit of a shadow here. I'm going to come back in with my cerulean blue in a minute. And just laying an undertone of the pink first. And like that. And then here. And there's definitely a shadow here. And it has a bit of the orangey undertone of the hair, but more pink, so I'm going to add more pink in there. Quite a bit more pink in there. Down to about here. And like that. And up in here. And like that. And down here. It's even a little bit darker down in the neck here, here. Okay. All right. Now I'm taking a little bit of my cerulean and just dropping it into some of these areas. It's going to add the coolness of a shadow in here, which is very obvious in the reference picture. And like that, and up to about here. It doesn't go too much to the right side of the face. Definitely a big shadow there under her, on her neck, and up into here, and okay. And darkening in here and underneath this eye. It's very red under there, around there, there. And a little bit darker in there, underneath her lip here, and underneath her nose a little bit here. And there's a line underneath her nose there, there, there. Okay, it's coming together. It's quite a mix of colors here. That cerulean blue is proving to be a little more difficult for me to mix the right value or the color I want in here for some reason compared to my usual French ultramarine that I use, but we'll make it work. Okay. All right. What can I do next here? Maybe a little smaller brush in the areas where I have it's dried a little bit more. Maybe I can come in. There aren't too many areas that have dried too much. Over on this ear on this side. I'm going to go ahead and dry things again so I can come back with a little more glazing. Okay, there you go. Been taping all this time with my mic off. Sorry about that. I'm back. Okay. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to dry this a little bit. All right, the areas that I'm really concerned about painting right now that I want to do is eyes, nose, and mouth, the detail areas. And so I'm going to, I've got a nice dark, almost black here for her eyes. Her eye here is really hidden in the shadow. And this part of her eyebrow, connecting it with her eye here. And I had painted blue there earlier, so and I think, yeah, we come right down into there, into the corner of the eye, and we get a nice dark. It's pretty dark all over in this eye, actually, so I can, except for maybe that glint of blue. And again, I said I use a little artistic license. Her eyes aren't really blue. I think they're more brown or something, but that's okay. And I'm going to do that. And here, 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 there. Something like that. That looks pretty good. Nose, nostrils here, dark, dark. And the mouth, very dark on the left hand side. A dark line through the center. We won't go all the way across. We'll do kind of a broken line there. Kind of do that. Again, just those suggestions of a shape can just really do a lot, right? Boy, I don't like this brush very well. It's good for lines, but for what I'm trying to do here, it's not. So I'm going to go back and grab my a little bit larger this quill. Let's emphasize the shape there, emphasize there, emphasize under here. Boy, in here it's quite a bit darker. Let's come in here. That. And this. Yeah, okay, like that, like that. And like I said earlier, come back and do a bit more on this ear. It was a little too light over there. So I had put down some red earlier. Now I'm back with some bluish, cooler application of color there, darken that. Super dark in here. that. And over in here, super dark. And down here, super dark. Along in here as well. Something like that. And like that. And where else can it be super dark? Something like that, but then it does that. Interesting. Needs to be a bit more shape on her nose. So under here, nope, that's not going to work. That brush is not going to work. Too small. Under here, comes down to like that. That. And there's a bit more of a triangle here. And again, pretty strong shadow on this side and down this way. A little bit of pretty red in there. Yeah, pretty red over here as well. And a little bit more red down here. Comes over like that. And it's not super white on this side of the eye, so I'm going to darken that a bit. We tend to think, oh, the whites of the eyes are white. Well, honestly, if you look, some parts of them might be, but other parts have more of a pinkish tone to them. So you have to really be careful with that. And there you go. Like that. Wanting to come back and emphasize some of the red in her hair. Maybe just like this with this spiral red. And it's an overemphasis of the color, granted, but it's okay, artistic license, and thinking more about tone and value than I am about exact colors. And I want it to just be interesting, kind of fun. It shimmers, you know, something like that. Okay, I think I'm just about done here. I'm running out of time. I've been painting for 48 minutes. That's as long as I really want to go with these. I may work on it a bit more afterwards, but I'll scan it, put it up on social media, you can get a sense for it. I'd love to see what you do as well. Put a hashtag 30 portraits in March is what I'm doing. 30 portraits in March is my hashtag for these on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, yeah, glad you could be with us today. I'll probably be back tomorrow or the next day and just keep on painting portraits this month and trying to get better. Thank you for being here and joining, and yeah, have a great day.